I think maybe even Dirty Jersey Rat. Dirty Jersey. Yay! I love that song.
Yeah, it was good in the beginning because there was only a couple of the podcasts out there, and now everybody's doing a podcast from their bathroom.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Oh well, it's still better than radio.
Yeah, well, that's why, I wanted to tell everybody the story about what you said to me, which was like, it blew me away because I remember every day you going, you were only there for 3 days a week, 3 days out of the week, and every day that you came on, you killed it. Like, hands down, killed it. And
nobody would tell me that, though.
Yeah, but I guess I was the only one that told you that. And I remember also telling you about how big Ren and Stimpy was, and I don't think you understood the amount of people that were watching it in the very beginning. You seemed kind of surprised when I would tell you that everybody's wearing Ren and Stimpy shirts, everybody's watching it. My friends used to get together and watch Ren and Stimpy like for hours on end, just smoking grass and just watching Ren and Stimpy. And I remember telling you those things, but I said it kind of like innocently, not realizing that you were really soaking it all in. And you didn't.
I just thought that, I'd be doing all these amazing things out in California, and I'd come home and I'd be just another guy named Joe when I walked into the radio station,
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Billy,
Yeah, well, that's the way.
What's Billy talking about, Robin?
Yeah.
What's Ren Stimpy? Emily spit at the TV.
Yep. So, no, but I remember you telling me.
It was their job to fade me,
Yeah, I remember the day that you walked out. Because I remember I was sitting across from Gary, and you walked in, and you closed the door with Gary, then you left, and then Gary turned to me and goes, "Oh, my God, Billy West just quit." And I went, whoa. It was like someone punched me in the gut.
Oh, man. Well, I had to leave, it was just like I wasn't going to work there and not get paid any more money than the day I walked in.
Yeah. What was that conversation? So you had to go and talk to Mel Karmazin, correct?
Well, it was go talk to Mel, talk to Tom, talk to this one, talk to Franny, talk to Zoe. It was just like I know that, and the thing is it was clear that they didn't want me. You know what I mean? It was clear that they wanted me to leave, so it was like a way to kind of get me to walk in and go, "Listen, I'm leaving."
Yeah. And then I remember you said to me, I remember when you moved into your nice house in L.A., you said something really nice, and you said it was I helped you build your confidence to go out to L.A., and you said when you went out there, they welcomed you with open arms.
Well, yeah, it was a big difference. I did the best I could when I was in New York. I tried every single day. I tried to, blow the doors off the place, and it was not very appreciated. And, and the way a situation like that gets framed, it's like you're just another idiot in the cast, so there's no standouts. You can't be 5 times funnier than the guy who gave you a job, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we all knew how that went.
Well, but, the thing is I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to be, I never had a sense of entitlement. I wasn't looking for glory. I went in there to specifically go fucking crazy, on cue, every day. If they gave me the green light, if Howard gave me the thumbs up, or he summoned me to, gave me the gestures, could like go for it, go after, and that's what I did. That's what I went by. There were a few things going on that I just didn't like. I didn't like Tom's. He was like an automaton. He was just like. Never a good word, never nothing, It was just like I'd walk out of there and the place would be in pieces and he would just go, "Hi, Billy," And it's like a guy, if I were in charge of people, if I was somebody's boss, I'd make damn sure they felt good about working for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
I would inspire them. I would always go, "Hey, man, I just want to tell you, please, just you're pouring it on in there and you're making us look good and all that." No, never, no, not a fucking, not a hello even,
Yeah, no, well, it's like they always like the atmosphere at K Rock was always keep a good man down. You know, and never let them know that you appreciate them.
I must not have been a good man because I was down.
Yeah.
And then I always felt that silly Ralph was aimed at me. You know, I mean, I don't know if it was Tom or I don't know, but boy, he was always trying to start some shit with me, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And then one day, he physically injured me in the office. I mean,
Ralph?
Yes.
He physically injured you in the studio.
Yes.
What did he do?
In Gary's office, I was sitting in there, and I was talking to Gary, and Ralph was basically allowed to run wild. You know, he was bulletproof, and he'd be like galloping around the station like fucking Jar Jar Binks. And then he just came galloping into Gary's office and grabbed the top of my head. I just had surgery here. What do you call it? Transplant surgery. And I don't know. He must have known it because he went right for the jugular. He walked in and squeezed the top of my head so hard that I almost passed out. And I got up and I went, Ralph, you ever do that again, I'll knock you through a fucking wall. And he just says to me, well, your head shouldn't have been in the way.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, you think it's funny, huh? I'll mess you up afterwards. How about that? And he said, yeah, you would too. You're a psycho.
But people are commenting that they love your Ralph impression.
Oh, what's to love?
Yeah, well,
he's so creative. I gotta act like I got a mouthful of guacamole, you know.
Yeah, I'm just starting to remember that you had some disdain for Ralph.
Oh, disdain? I mean, I was fine with him. The guy just was like doing everything he could to like get up my nose, and I don't know if he was sent to do that to me. I don't know. But he acted like a jealous girl. I know that.
Yeah, I was watching one of your old clips when you did Marge Shot and Frank Sinatra and stuff, and there was like a couple of times I'm like, you were really on fire, and it was getting so funny, and Howard was like, yeah, all right, that's enough,
Yeah.
And it was like, why is he cutting him off? This shit is like on fire right now.
Well, because that's the game, you know. I mean, you want to. I mean, you have to have control over every element of your show, and if there's a wild card, you gotta like frame it a certain way so that the person can't look very good. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's unfortunate. I mean, it's like that's what I got for being a superlative.
You know what I didn't like? What went down over there was when. The guy that created Ren and Stimpy, John Kay, who turned out to be just a horrible human being, but I didn't know who he was, and they kind of went behind your back and had him because you guys had who could blame you? Like when everything went down with MTV and they were like you could do both voices. What do we need him for? And he got mad at you for staying, which is completely stupid. But I didn't know with that whole situation with John Kay. And that he was being brought in as like a mystery guest to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in the bathroom because Gary totally dropped the ball on that because I was in the bathroom. John Kay was supposed to be kept in isolation.
Yes, and he was in the bathroom.
And I was in the bathroom, and then you walked in the bathroom, and I remember your reaction. And you were just like, oh, great, what are you doing here? And I didn't know that he was supposed to be isolated. I didn't know that he was a mystery guest in there to kind of fuck with you.
Yeah.
And that.
Well, good thinking. I mean, he'll rue the day. I mean, he'll regret that day for the rest of his life that he decided to come in there and be a cutie pie.
Yeah, but that was just I saw I was like, why? And then Gary had to take the blunt of that. Because he totally ruined it all. Because now you're prepared that this jerk off's coming in, but I didn't know how like bad the situation was between you and him at that time, and for them to do that was definitely a big scumbag move.
Well, it goes way back. I mean, I worked in 1988. I did a show called Beanie and Cecil, and John Kay was the animator on that show, and it lasted about 5 episodes because John Kay kept putting stuff into the show that no one agreed to, and he was just difficult to work with, and and luckily I wasn't being voice directed by him because. He had a habit of trashing actors, just trashing them. I mean, like beating them down to a pulp, and over nothing. I mean, it was just like it was high drama over nothing. And the thing is the way I grew up, I was the whipping boy in my house. I had a psycho father, drunk, crazy, and every day I took my punch in the jaw or smack in the head or kick in the ass. Every single day I got beat on. And so I was tailor-made for abuse. And so I tried, no matter what was being asked of me, I would bend over backwards to accomplish it, to do it, when everybody else would have just said, fuck this, I'm out of here. And it spilled over to the radio show, too. It's like, kind of built for, being mistreated and, and I'm not crying. I mean, I think it's kind of funny that we're sitting here talking about ancient history.
Yeah, well, there's a couple. There's people here that that are big fans of yours. Peanut Butter 66 said that Doug meant the world to him as a child, and we have things. We got people coming on that want to ask a couple of questions. Ryan A wants to know: Can Billy talk about the Jackie puppet and Jimson weed?
Jesus, I don't remember anything about it. I really don't. I mean, I know about the Jackie puppet who would tell jokes and he was venomous. And the thing is you could never win with a Jackie puppet because all he did was laugh at you.
Yeah.
And when somebody's laughing at you, you can throw all the punches you want at them. They're just going to sit there and go.
I remember how relentless you were with Conan O'Brien because he came in that day and he was so nervous because Howard was bashing the crap out of him for like months on end. And I don't know if you remember, but he was nervous. In K-Rock, we had this really like crappy jock lounge, and it was like just the cheapest furniture you could possibly get. But probably the most expensive thing is it looked like a mini surfboard, a marble table. It was the top was marble, like a surfboard, and it was just on two like cans of it was just really cheesy. And Conan was so nervous that he put his feet up on the marble table, but on the very end, and the marble table stood straight up, fell over, broke into a million pieces just as Tom Chiasano walked by.
Oh boy!
And I ran into the studio because Tom started yelling at him. Like it was something expensive. You broke our table, and Conan felt.
Now we're gonna be out $28.
Yeah, and then Conan, then I ran to the studio and said, Tom's yelling at Conan O'Brien right now, and then he comes in, and then you just jumped on him with the Jackie puppet, and you didn't let him breathe. It was so fucking funny, dude.
Oh, when he walked in, I told him, Conan, oh bye-bye. Conan.
Conan, oh bye-bye, because no one thought he was gonna last.
But yeah, I mean, I was out doing a lot of stuff, and when it came time to negotiate at the radio station, there was no negotiation. It was just like, talk to the judge.
Anonymous wants to know, can you have Billy tell us the time he told his uncle he was attracted to a black girl in school? He said his uncle looked like he saw a ghost.
Yes. Yes, he did. I was in school in Boston, and it was junior high, and there was a very, very pretty black girl named Pat, and she sat a few rows away, and I just found myself just staring at her and daydreaming, just like every young dickhead in high school, junior high does. And to me, I mean, I was not a racist. I mean, it didn't dawn on me that it would be, people would look down on the fact that I had a crush on a black girl. But my uncle said to me, so you got anything going on in school? Anything going on? You got any LOVE? Get your eye on a girl? And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, Uncle Dick, I do. He goes, oh, yeah? And I said, yeah, she's very beautiful, and she's smart, and I would love to meet her or just at least talk to her, and she's black. And he went, oh, geez. And he was like, look at your nature. Look at the world around us and your nature. Does a bee go out with a fly?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, no, if you're beautiful, you're beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. And it's so funny how everybody was in such a sweat to portray me as like some kind of racist because of stuff they heard on the radio. It was the farthest thing from the truth.
Do you think that Triumph the insult comic dog was a ripoff from you?
I really don't know. I have nothing but respect for that guy. I think he's a genius. And, and I love that he has balls because I saw him. I've been in places where he's come there with the puppet and just gone crazy on people. And I said, this guy's got balls. This guy's my hero. And I loved anybody like that. That's why I liked Howard. He just, he was fearless. Gilbert.
Oh, man. You and
Gilbert
Gilbert, when you guys were on, and either together or separate, that's when the phones really went crazy because people just call up just hysterical laughing. They couldn't even get like a question or what they were calling about because it was just mayhem and like radio gold. Like what a time in life to be able to like for me as a kid to be part of that and watch two of the greatest ever. Go at it back and forth and just I can't believe Gilbert passed away.
Yeah, I know. I was very shook up by that because, I was friends with him, and he used to have me on his show all the time, and he got me. There was none of this trying to act like what are you talking about? Like pretending that I was talking and saying stuff, but no one understood what I was saying. That was the act from the radio show. I don't understand what Billy's saying, Robin. Do you? What's Billy talking about, Robin? It was always like I always felt like I was meant to feel like an idiot that had no right to speak.
Yeah, no,
I didn't mind it terribly. I wouldn't. I still don't mind. I mean, that was the act. That was the wrestling ring. But if I had gotten paid, a living wage and I didn't have to sweat it in New York City. I had to take all these outside gigs, because I was having a hard time. When I first moved to New York, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I lived in the ass end of Chinatown. I lived in the Lower East Side. And I was working at a radio station that was, I thought this was the big time. When I come to New York and I go, oh, fuck, this is the big time. Holy moly, And then I realized that New York radio was so mediocre compared to a lot of local markets. They weren't big in audience, but there was nothing special going on. You had these old chestnuts like Imus, sitting there just, and just on autopilot for years. And then there's these Scott and Todds, blah, 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 about nothing. And the only thing real going on was at that station at K-Rock was Howard. There was something, I said, this is something special. This is like, no one can compete with this.
You came in from Boston, right? You were a BCN guy?
Yes, I was.
And now, Mel Karmazin was your boss there in BCN?
Yes, he came along later. There were a couple of other owners. It was Infinity Broadcasting, and it was also at one point called Hemisphere. And then they sold it, and Mel came from sales. He was not like a general manager at a radio station. He was a hot sales guy, head of the sales department. I think it was WNEW maybe. And he worked with a guy named Mike Kakianis. I met some of those guys when I first came to New York. They were asking me, hey, you think you might want to work here and stuff. And I didn't know. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But I did ask Mel. I said, Mel, I want to move to New York. And he said, well, I'll set something up. He said, I'll talk to Howard and see if he can use you, And I said, that'll be good because I got to move, I mean, I was newly sober in 1985, and I had just done a cartoon show in Los Angeles. And when I came back, I just said, I've done everything that I want to do in this town. And believe me, Boston was very, very good to me. I loved everybody. I was from there, even though I was born in Detroit, Michigan, but I grew up in Boston. And, and it was time to leave. And so Mel, told Howard about me. And so, they knew when I came there, I got a job. I was working in production when I first went to K-Rock.
Well, didn't something happen with you and Mel's desk or something?
Oh, no.
Oh,
No, that was a million years ago.
Okay. No, I don't know if you can talk about it, but if you don't want to, yeah.
Dirty, dirty Jersey. Dirty Jersey rat, dirty Jersey rat. Dirty, dirty Jersey.
You broke my heart, Dirty Jersey. You broke my heart. Mainly by including Granny. That's my main issue.
You know what? You weren't. I know that your ass was not going to bring this up.